Today I'm going to change my insulin. The first thing I normally do is get all my supplies together in one part. So I have a IV prep. It's alcohol with a little sticky compound on it. Then my insulin pump parts, some insulin, and my injector, and of course the trusty pump itself. As you can see, it's connected here in my stomach today. So first thing I do is disconnect myself from the pump and remove the old site. Okay, so as you can see, it just leaves a little bit of a hole, and that closes up pretty quickly. And then the next I go through the steps to change the pump. So you press ACT, scroll down to reservoir setup, and then it asks the question, did you disconnect the tubing from your body? And yes, I did, so please wait, and it's rewinding. So at that point I remove this. Now sometimes I have the insulin vials, and sometimes I have the Nova Rapid Flex pens. Just depends on which I can get at the time at the pharmacy. It just so happens this time I use Flex pens, it's not a problem. So the next thing I do is open up the alcohol, prep the area I want to do, and I switch back and forth from side to side, and whatever I do on the right side I do on the left side, and then when I go back to the right side I change, and then I'll copy that on the left side so that I know that I'm spreading it around evenly. So I have it right about here. Get that good and clean. And then while that's drying a little bit, I will fill the reservoir first. Now this one probably doesn't have enough insulin in it to fill this, but I'll use all of this first. Then this will go in the trash. You got to be careful not to overfill it to push the plunger past the end. So that's plenty, as you can see. Plunger's just before the end, and then I'll make sure there's no air in it. That's good. Set that there. Then before I do the next step, I like to get a little more alcohol in it. It's not necessarily now for the alcohol. I'm doing it for the sticky part on it, because I'm really good with my insulin, so I can keep this on for 7 days. So I want to make sure that I have enough sticky on there to help do that. And by the way, most people don't keep theirs on for 7 days. There's usually not enough insulin in the vial. But I eat a very, very strict diet and use very little insulin each day, about 20 units a day. So I'm able to push that a little bit extra. So I'm going to take this off and fill up the tubing. Then insert it into the injector. Remove the tabs that hold to keep the sticky part from being exposed. Then I slide it down there, and then I check. One of the things that happens sometimes when you inject it, the edge of the sticky will grab on here, and then it won't go all the way in, and that hurts. So you don't want that. So I've learned to kind of check, and what I do is I just kind of grab it and wiggle it a little bit, make sure none of the sides are touching, and then remove that. So now I'm all ready to inject it. There's my site that I'm going to inject it in. I get another visual on it, put it just exactly how I want it. 1, 2, 3, done. Pull out the needle section, remove the insulin section, take the plunger off. Now another trick is, you see this tubing has a natural curve in it from when they manufactured it. So if I'm holding my pump on this side, I kind of want my tubing to go towards the center. When if I'm holding it on this side, I want it to go towards the center as well. So what I do is I put it in how I want, I drop it in how I want, then I turn it backwards until it clicks, and then turn it forward, and you can see it's locked in there in this position. So I'm not actually bending it the other way, I'm bending it in its natural position. So that's done. And then the next thing you want to do is the rewind is complete. It tells you the rewind is complete. Just press and hold the act. And then are you disconnected? Yes. And now it's filling. This plunger is going forward. And insulin drops come out the end. All done. Press escape. Do I want to fill the end of the tubing? So what it's asking me is to attach this to my body, and then the little tube that's inside my body is still empty. So it takes 1/2 of a unit to fill that, and so I want to fill that. So I want to press act, and now that will fill, and then it'll be complete. And that is changing the insulin now. I don't have to take shots, before every meal, and then I don't have to take a shot in the morning and a shot in the evening. So that's automatically eliminates 5 shots in a day. And then if I eat a snack or something on the day, that's another shot that I eliminate. So we'll say 5 shots a day on average for 7 days, 35 shots or 1. And then this helps actually regulate the insulin levels to a much better degree. So I can take 1/10 of a unit with this, versus if I had to use the flex pen, the smallest I can take is a unit. So if my blood is, let's say, 120 and I want it to be 110, I can take just enough to lower that down to 110, or if I wanted to lower it to 100, I could take just enough to do that. So you have much better control, much tighter control, more like the human body, where you can stay between 90 and 110 on a normal basis. And I personally like to stay really tight between 90 and 100. I really watch it. And the other thing is too, is if you're a little low, if you're at 80, because the only thing that's in here is quick-acting insulin, I could turn the pump off for, say, an hour, and then my blood sugars will rise to about 100, and I didn't have to do anything for that. So it's a much easier way, a much more accurate way to monitor and control diabetes.